just important laws to know what are the laws of Rosh Chodesh. And then from there, we're going to go on to the chapter after that starts the laws of the holidays, of Yom Tov.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. Let's bring up the text here. Okay, so we should finish it today, no problem. We're holding law number 9 of chapter, hold on. We're holding law number 9 of chapter. Okay, there's someone who's trying to get in before. I don't know who that person was. I'm not gonna let in unless I know someone who knows him. Okay, or her. Okay, so let's okay, we're holding chapter number 96, the final laws of Shabbos, which is really about Matzah Shabbos, Saturday night. Law number 9. So it says as follows. Haner, right? So we make the Havdalah. We spoke about the cup and the psamim that you're supposed to have the. Oh, I forgot to check for you, Rebecca, with regard to the you want to know about perfume, right? If you can use perfume for psamim, I think you asked.
Yeah, that and also like the Bukharians use rose water, a bottle of rose water.
Rose.
Okay, the Syrians also they come around with the leaves that you were talking about, but they also come around with a spray bottle of smelling water, and you rub it on your hands if you choose.
Yeah, so in general, it's brought down in halachah in the laws of, in general, the laws of making a blessing for good smells is not just unique to Saturday night. We anytime, like I said, in a lot of Sephardic shuls and other shuls in Yerushalayim, I walk by every morning where they have out different herbs to smell. You could either make baruch atze besamim or isve besamim or mine besamim or anosin riach tov beperos. There's different brachas you can make for good smells. So in the halachas it talks about a person who works in a perfume shop. So if every time they walk into their sales place, they have to make a bracha. Obviously not. So, but the question is if we could use if it's what you should be using on Saturday night. But if you're saying that's the customs, whether you're saying Bukharian or the Sephardic or Syrian communities, obviously they're not doing something that they shouldn't be doing. Yes, Rebecca.
When do you say atzve besamim and when do you say mine besamim?
Okay, so I think we learned that before. If you know the specific thing that you're smelling, so if you're for instance myrtles, which are the hadassim, is a branch that's an eitz, right? So then you make on that atze besamim. If it's herbs like grasses, kind of then it's isve besamim, which is like the grasses of besamim. And then when you have like a mixture of it, or you don't have the specific, or if you don't know, then it's bari mine besamim. The mine means like a mixture of good smells. But like he says in number 8, he says that people have the custom, or he doesn't say the custom, he says you should put a little bit of musk, and also what did we say? Hadassim, leaves. So kind of mixing things up. Then you make bari mine besamim. But bari mine besamim is similar to the idea of shahakol. If you don't know exactly what it is, sometimes it's hard to tell. So bari mine besamim is all inclusive. Yes, Rebecca.
And what if it's like cinnamon sticks? Do you
Again,
make a bracha on that?
if it depends, yeah. So it depends. Like if you, it's a besamim is an herb. So it's a substance. I could be. See, I don't. I definitely cinnamon inside a mix is not a problem. I think some people will use. What do we use? The cloves. That's what we use. That's the best to use of bari minei psamim, which that's this. That's the classic. Which is you should have that as well. But I think some people will. If you have to, you make them on cinnamon. I don't think it's
We
the
put cinnamon
the
and
wrong choice.
cloves out,
Yeah,
one
yeah,
bottle of each.
yeah. Yes, Barbara.
I was going to say, I'm allergic to cloves, so I use cinnamon or use nutmeg. Does that matter?
No. I'm saying you could use, yeah, especially you could use Hadassah. There's many things today you could use that are not only with cloves. Yeah. No, for sure. The thing is that it has to be considered like if you're opening it's a besamim, it's a spice. So to open to like to when you open up the chicken soup on Friday night or sorry Thursday night after you're making it or whatever it is, and that smells great. That's a good aroma. That's you don't make a bar minei besamim on a good smelling chicken soup or your challah that's baking in the oven, which is fantastic. I'm sure I don't. It's not usually what you would make, but it's a fragrance that comes from spices. Okay, so now that's the psumim. So what about the hold on a second. What about the actual light, the candle? So did we do this one? I don't think we did this one last time. So Aaron talked about the candle that he has that has spices in the candle. So you have haner mitzvah shiyeh b'shaiva me'eze neris kluim yachid. So it's preferable to have candles that are made up of wax and a single candle that's braided together. So either today we have the classic Havdalah candle. Oh, there you go. Thank you, Aaron. So the classic Havdalah candle that you used to buy, which was worldly accepted, was the challah, the braided candle. Today, people like to get fancy, like Aaron, which has a single block of wax but has 2 wicks in it. But if you actually look what he says over here, he's saying, yes, we see the some minute. Thank you. It says braided together. That's the actual wording he says. The nair is cluing together. So you could say, yeah, so it looks like that's really your best option. Shehu avuka, because then it becomes a torch as opposed to just a candle. If you don't have such a kind of thing for Eish, you don't have such a Havdalah candle, you only have a regular candle or a match, whatever. So you ever see, you go to a house sometimes or a shul that will have, or a public place where, of course, someone forgot to bring the Havdalah candle. The gabbai was off his game, or the woman in charge is off her game, and so they didn't bring in the Havdalah candle. So you'll take 2 candles and you put the flames together, because then you have the flame together and it creates the avuka, creates the torch as opposed to a candle. V'noigim, and the custom is after we make the blessing on the fire. And again, the reason we do it on the fire was because the fire was created on Motzei Shabbos. Is mistalkim batzipornayim v'yesh lirois b'tzipornei yad yamin. So you look at our nails, and then you're supposed to what you do is you look at your nails and you look at the nails on the right hand specifically. He mentions the gam nogin listakel b'kaf yad yamin, also to look at the palm of your right hand. V'yesh lichvoif arba etzbois al ha'agodul litoich kaf yad. So like I said, you cover the 4 fingers over the thumb to make like a half fist when you're checking on the candles. And then you could look at your candles and your palm all at once. So you have the thumb kind of covered over by the 4 fingers, and it's like this. You're looking at your palm, and you will see the footnotes in a second, and your fingers at the same time. Hold on, Rebecca. And then you open your hand and you look at the nails from the back of the fingers, meaning first you look in the front of the palm, then the back of the palm, which is our custom. So we go like this, and then we go like that. And that's how we look at the fire and the flames. Yes, Rebecca. You're gonna ask something? You're on mute.
Yeah, sorry. So what if I'm hearing Havdalah like in a shul where I'm on the other side of the machitza, or some other place where I can't really see the candle so well, and I definitely can't put my nails in front of the candle.
Okay, excellent question. You could go home later and check and do a bar me'areish when you get an opportunity.
Make the bracha again?
Yeah, make a bracha bar me'areish, yeah.
Okay. And then also, why do we do that again? Is it to remember when our bodies were covered in
nails
or something?
Yeah, but let's see the footnotes. Yes, Jonathan.
To rearrange a little bit what Rebecca just said, right? Then yes, right. Then for instance, right. Then when you make a Kiddush and Havdalah and Shul, what's the purpose of omitting Vayer, Vayibocha, and Vayichulu? Or some shuls omit the Rahine Kel Yeshua Siapach. When they just start with Sarir and I remember. I mean, what's the purpose of omitting the first paragraphs by Kiddush or Havdalah Shul? If you're going to make it anyway.
There's a difference. I'm not familiar with omitting the parts in the shul. It's not really our custom in Chabad to do in the shul. Let's see if we have some answers over here as we come along. But let's. Rebecca asked the question about chaos. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I just interrupt? So actually, what Jonathan just mentioned, that actually happened to me this past Shabbos. I was on a Shabbaton, and they made Havdalah for us only in shul. And they skipped the whole first part, and they only made the brachos, and that was it. And I never heard of that before. I guess the Havdalah in shul, like Ashkenaz, they don't do Hine Kel Yeshua. They don't do that whole thing.
What did Jonathan?
So, like, are you Yotze without it? Are you Yotze?
That's the main is the blessing. The main is the blessing. Say before the main is the blessing. Why they omitted? I have to check. What did you hear, Jonathan? Why did they omit it?
Because they just say you don't say that paragraph in shul, all right? Like you don't say by hulu in shul.
Did they say why?
They may have, but I forgot the reason already.
Let me check into that. Yes, Aaron.
Okay. First of all, in my shul they do the whole thing, and it's Ashkenaz, and in the Sephardic shul, it's done a little differently, and it's longer. There's a few things that we as Ashkenaz don't say, but I'm married to a Sephardic Syrian, so a lot of times I go to a Syrian shul, especially in the afternoon, and so they just do it longer, and they even they pretend to laugh at one point because they want a happy week.
It's different. Again, there's different customs that different people do. So, okay, now let's get back to the text. So the question over here is, why do we have to have a torch versus a single flame? So he says the reason is because we make a blessing boire ma'oire, which is plural. So ma'oire is plural form, and because the bracha is recited in the plural form, so we want to make a blessing on two candles or two flames that make a torch. Rebecca, you had another question?
No, it's okay. Thank you.
Okay, so number 30. What were we talking about? Look at your fingernails. So he says, he quotes the Shulchan Aruch 298, chapter 298, law 3, to be certain that you are close enough to benefit from the light. So that answers your question without any kind of medrash, so to say, Rebecca. Why do you make the bracha to see your fingernails? Because by looking at your fingernails, he quotes the Torah, so then you could see. Then you know that you're benefiting from the light. If you can't, if you're just seeing the light from a distance and it doesn't show you anything, so you're not making a blessing on the light. When you're looking at your fingernails, then you could see that you're looking at something that you're appreciating the light. That doesn't, of course, answer all the questions about the back and forth and the hand and all that. So Tours and others are accustomed to look. So says the Torah, looks like. Others are accustomed to look at their nails before the bracha, see the Mishnah Brura. Okay, it doesn't give us more insight than that. We'll check into the more insight of the reasons, but of course, it's like Rebecca said, there's many things connected to the Bar Meir Eish was the beginning when Adam was sitting in the dark and all that, and then they were getting kind of into their beginnings. They were created on Friday, so there's different things that we remember connected to the nails. But the idea is basically to be able to, just the halachic idea of it is to be able to say that you're actually benefiting from the light and not making a blessing levatala. If you see a light and it doesn't show you anything, so it could be you're making a wasteful blessing. So to make sure you're not making a wasteful blessing, so therefore you make bar variation. Therefore that answers your question, Rebecca, with regard if you're in the women's section in the shul or what have you, and you can't benefit from the fire, then definitely you should go make a bracha. You weren't yot to the bracha. So you have to do the bracha privately in your own place. Yes, Aaron.
Okay, so if you said the light is supposed to show you something, that's why you use your nails. Why they do it in the full bright room instead of turning off the lights? Because then it actually would show you something.
First of all, some people do have the custom to turn off the lights. That's in some shows they turn off the lights for better effects. But if you're close enough, then you're still benefiting from the fire.
Thank you.
All right. Now the question is, what about a person who's unfortunately blind? Do they make a bracha on the ner? Again, the reason we do in general the bracha on the ner is because fire was created then. So it's about the time again, like Rebecca says, of Adam and Eve just after creation. Until he learned how to make fire. So I think we mentioned that before. Where did we mention that? Hold on. Did we mention that before? I think we did. Hold on, just give me a second. Let's get there a second. So what about if a person's blind though? So a person who's blind, yes, Barbara, you're mute.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, someone told me one of the reasons why we check the nails with the light of the Havdalah kanda is to make sure we haven't profaned the Sabbath by working.
So, say that again.
To show that we haven't profaned the Sabbath by working on the Sabbath. Does that make sense? That's what I was told by someone.
That makes sense. Again, different symbolizations of things. Absolutely. Okay. What about a summa, someone who's blind? You can't make a blessing on the candle because you can't see the candle. And same thing applies to the blessing of the spices. If you don't have a sense of smell, you can't make a bracha on the psalm because you can't make a bar minei psalm. You're not smelling anything. My grandfather in his later life lost his sense of smell. So my grandmother would make the bar minei psalm. Okay. She quotes Shulchan Aruch 297.5. Nor does he recite these brachas for others. Okay, the question is like this: can you make a bracha bar minei psalmim and others will smell it? So you're being moitzi someone else. You're saying on behalf of someone else. So says the Taz, Magen Avram, the Vilna Gaon, etc. Unlike the ruling of the Shulchan Aruch, which seems to say, I guess he's saying the Shulchan Aruch would say that you can make a blessing for someone else. Okay. 11. Im la'acher sheberach al yain im la'acher sheberach al yain va'oiches is psam biyade v'niskaven levarach leim ta b'l'shani v'amar bari meirihesh. Let's say you got confused. So you made the bracha, you did hine kal yeshuasi. And he said, Baruch atah Hashem bar pir gavin. I'm sure Rebecca, even when you were last week in the place where they started off with the Havdalah, they said first bar pir gavin. They just missed out the hine kal yeshuasi.
Yeah.
Okay. So you make the bracha bar pir gavin, and you're holding obviously the psamim in your hand. So it's obviously your intention was to make a blessing on it, but you got tongue-tied and you made the wrong blessing. So the point over here is that if you made the wrong blessing, and maybe you just meant to make a blessing on the fire, but here the fact that you're holding the psalmim, and that happens, by the way, don't feel bad if it happens. It happens to me quite often. That happens. It can happen. It's possible. That you just get tongue tied, and you say bar meiresh, you made the wrong blessing. You blessed the fire instead of making the blessing on the spicy on the psalmim. And then you within enough time. It means means you caught yourself as you were saying it. Niskar v'sim oid bar meir psalm, then you kind of changed it. Quickly said Baruch atah Hashem bar meir. Sometimes if a person is at a kiddush club and making kiddush on a schnapps, which is shahakal, right? So you're used to making hagafen. You could also have that mistake. You say Baruch atah bar meir. Sorry, shahakal. So what happens if you make that mistake? But here it's a little different because there, when you're making kiddush, could be you're not paying attention. But the very fact that you're holding the psalmim means you obviously weren't planning to check your nails. So you caught yourself and you said, and you fixed it. And you said bar minei psalmim. So is that a blessing? So he says also la bracha la psalm. Then the blessing stands. It's a good blessing because you changed it in the nick of time, so to say. And then you make another bracha on the ner. Means you don't say that you made a bracha already on the ner when you said by mistake, bar meirish, because by correcting the blessing, then the first slip of the tongue is eliminated. So there was no blessing on the fire. Let's say you just got confused of the ceremony. And you meant to make a blessing on the fire, and you forgot that you have to make a blessing first on the you got confused, and you're supposed to make a blessing first on the psalmim. Also, so then first do the candle and then do the psalm separately in the next blessing. Okay, let's see the 33. So he says, Toch de dibur, within the time it takes to greet your teacher of saying Shalom Shalom Aleichem Alecha Rebbe. So if when a person, what is the definition of in the nick of time? What is that time? Like everything in is a shear. It's a nick of time is left for seemingly left for translation. So they say no, in halacha there's no such thing as left as translation. The Torah halacha tells us what is considered a nick of time, what is considered toch kedei dibur, that you could fix it within that amount of time, is how long it takes you to say the three words Shalom Alecha Rebbe. What is that? The second and a half? So not talking about a speed dial, Shalom Aleichem Rebbe, but to say it in a normal way, the same way you would greet your teacher. You wouldn't greet your teacher Shalom Aleichem Rebbe. How would you say it to your teacher if you didn't see them in a while and you wanted to say Shalom Aleichem to your teacher? You would talk like a person, like a respectable person. You say Shalom Alecha Rebbe. So that amount of time is the amount of time which is considered toch kedei dibur, that you could correct the blessing. Now he says, what about if you made a mistake? Meaning you actually were intending to make a blessing on the fire, and you had no intention to make the blessing on the psamim. So then the Mishnah Berurah says, you could check 2096, but it's the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch Paskins rules that you do first the eish, check your nails, etc., and then make a separate blessing afterwards on the psamim. So meaning to say what he's saying is interesting, is because usually toch kedei dibur should be just universal, but in this case he's applying the toch kedei dibur only if you had a slip of the tongue, meaning it wasn't an intentional mistake. It wasn't an intentional mistake. It was an unintentional mistake. But if intentionally you meant to say it on the fire, don't fix the blessing and toch kedei dibur and change it to psalm, because you never had intention for that. So then just say it the way it is, and do the fire first, and then do the psalm. Okay. Now, so we did the Havdalah. Now we know a few. Now we're going to some laws about Saturday night in general. Mitzvah laharbais ktsas b'neris b'motzei Shabbos. A person should try to bring more light, to light candles on Saturday night. It's a custom. Again, everything in a manner of safety, but to try to light candles in your home on Motzei Shabbos to brighten up the house on Saturday night. V'loyemer hazmiros, we have special songs that we sing for Saturday night. In Chabad, we sing Amav M'Kodesh Lechol. We have Alti Rav Yaakov. We have singing songs for King David, for David HaMelech, and for Elijah the prophet. Nochi Shalach Lechem. There's all kind of songs that we have for Nigunim, for songs that we sing on Motzei Shabbos. There's the song of Reb Levi Yitzchak Barditchev. There's a lot of songs, a lot of minhagim and customs of what songs we sing, different customs, different places. The lavois is a Shabbos b'tziase, because the purposes of it is to escort Shabbos as it leaves. Derech kavod in a not to just slam. That's what one of the important things is, and especially this takes discipline as we get older, is to properly let Shabbos out. Don't run to your phone. That's why some people, even if they don't do Rabbeinu Tam's, usually they'll try. Now it's the summer, so but Israel's not so bad. Not Seattle, where it comes out at 10 o'clock or 10:30. But in Eretz Yisrael, it could go out at 8:15. But my meaning that davens are strict to really wait a little bit until to daven Maariv, not maybe Rabbeinu Tam, but to daven a little later. So the idea is kind of, it's a mindset that we're not running away from Shabbos, and we set the tablecloth, and we may have Milav Malka. So the lavos is to escort Shabbos queen when it leaves in a way of kavod, kederech shemalavin es hamelch, just like you would accompany the escort a king b'yitzias meir when he leaves the city, right? So we're getting close to the month of Elul, right? Ani ladodi v'dodi li. The Melech Basada, the king, is in the field, so people come out to greet it. There's an idea of lechadodi, of greeting, and there's an idea of escorting, and of a way of respect, and that's how we should treat the Shabbos. Here, as we would accompany and escort a king when he leaves the city. And he says, we mention Elijah the prophet, and we pray that he should come, because the tradition is And it's not just brought down as a folk tale. It's brought down in halacha that if one learns the laws of Eruvin, we learned on Shabbos the laws of Eruvin. In the tractate of Eruvin, it discusses the laws. When could Elijah come? Because could Elijah come out of the distance, right? You're not allowed to come on Shabbos. We learned you're not allowed to travel more than a certain distance on Shabbos. How's Elijah going to show up? There's all the questions, so it becomes very complicated. When could Elijah come? He can't come on he can't come on a Shabbos. How's he going to come and announce the Geula? And he has to come lifnei yom ba. He has to come a day before. So this is a thing that's brought down in the prophets, and therefore it's part of our, not just the tradition as a folktale. It's part of our reality that Elijah the prophet's going to come v'yivasu lanu tzedgula. He's going to announce the redemption. Elijah the prophet can't come on Friday. Why can't he come on Friday? Let him come on Friday and announce. So it's brought down again. He can't, another date he can't come. He can't come on Friday because the Jewish people you're supposed to be busy on Shabbos. We don't have time for Elijah the prophet on Friday. Friday is a stressful day. You have to go shopping, you have to make the challah, you have to make the cholent, the gabbai has to make sure everything's there, you have to clean your clothing. There's a lot to do. So therefore, sorry, Elijah the prophet can't come on a Friday. It's too busy. So he's going to disturb the preparations for Shabbos. The Rebbe used to always say that though this is brought down in the Gemara and it's brought down here in Shulchan Aruch, it's brought down in the laws, we forgo all that. Let him come, let him annoy us, as long as he should come. And the Rebbe says, what do you mean? It says that he can't come. So when Mashiach comes, well, he's going to answer a lot of questions. We'll answer that question too, right? Because one of the things that Elijah the prophet's going to do when Mashiach comes, he's going to answer all the questions. Jewish people are full of questions. We have a lot of good questions to ask him. So he's going to have to answer that one too. So but either way, but in the halacha it says he can't come on a Friday because he's going to disturb the prep for Shabbos. We also don't daven that he should come on Shabbos. Maybe we don't want to daven for something he can't do, because if we're going to daven for him to come on Shabbos, and the halacha, there's a debate in the Talmud if Elijah the prophet's restricted by the restrictions of the gvul, of the tchumim on Shabbos. He can't come from heaven down to earth. It's because there's a question if that's a space that he can't enter on Shabbos. So we don't, just because we don't know the law, we don't know the final ruling. And again, the Rebbe used to say, let him come on Shabbos also. Because then they say, maybe he's going to come on Friday and just chill out and then wait and then announce on Shabbos. And then he doesn't violate the Shabbos. We say no. If he's going to come, he has to announce the redemption. He doesn't just hang out in Tveria, in Tiberias, because that's where he's going to start off. In Tiberias, he can't just hang out in Tiberias with a mission and not do it. Right. So these are all complicated. We should get rid of all these complications, and he should already come later. So we don't know if he could come on Shabbos. So we went 48 hours that Elijah can't come. He can't come on Friday because he's going to disturb the Shabbos preparation. He can't come on Shabbos because we don't know if he has limitations. He can't travel down from heaven. So what do we do? Right away on Motzei Shabbos, we remind ourselves and we say, no, now we want to daven Mashiach should come. We want Eliyahu to come. So therefore, now ready to come on Saturday night. There's no more restrictions. The chant pot will be cleaned later. We're waiting for him to come and be the announcer. He's going to give over the announcement of the coming of Mashiach. Another reason is Isav Medrash. It's brought down in the Medrash. Every Saturday night, Elijah the prophet goes into the Garden of Eden. He sits under the tree of life. And he writes the merit to the Jewish people. He writes all the people who kept Shabbos. Right? Motzei Shabbos is out. He goes into Motzei Shabbos and he writes down who kept Shabbos. He takes a diary. If we mention him for positivity. All right, let's see footnote number 35. Motzei Shabbos is supposed to be a wonderful time, and it is. And if we have Malav Malka, and it's okay to have pizza Malav Malka. It doesn't say anywhere that it has to be. We do say that we set the table nicely. And we have candles, like we said, and we sing Shemiras, and that's all part of the Malav Malka process. So he says, also, I'm not sure if he's going to mention it. There's a custom to drink. This is brought down in Shulchan Aruch. There's a custom to drink a warm cup of water on Motzei Shabbos. We know that Be'er, the well of Miriam, starts moving on Motzei Shabbos, and although it's not technically something that we don't know exactly where it is. We know the tradition is that the well of Miriam, when the Jewish people entered the land, the rock rolled into the Kinneret Sea, the Sea of Galilee, which is known as the Kinneret, which is up by Tveria. So that's Tveria is on the west side of the Sea of Galilee, and the east side you have the Golan, the beginning of the Golan Heights. So the rock of Miriam went into the Kinneret. So it's brought down. Therefore, Matzah Shabbos, it starts. The waters start flowing again, and so you try to draw from the cup of Miriam. It says that if you're so lucky to get a splash from the cup of Miriam in your cup, from the water of Miriam in your cup, then it will heal you of all illnesses. All right. So therefore, but the custom is that we drink a cup of warm water on Matzah Shabbos. 35, it doesn't say. It's just a code of sources. 36 is he brings down other. He says that upon departing the city, which is brought down in Masechta Shabbos, Elijah the prophet is mentioned because he can't come on Shabbos. He quotes the Ramah. 38. He quotes chapter 95 again because those are the laws of Tchumim. Right? He can't come from heaven because he's out of the space. So for him to enter the world is going to be complicated. 39, he also gives some references. All right, let's go further. Law number 13. Best is, if you can, is to break bread on this meal of the Matzah Shabbos and to have a warm dish. You set the table nicely. The Kvoid Halvais Shabbos, again, all part of the respect of the escorting out the Shabbos. So if you can't eat bread for whatever reason, try at least to eat cakes where something that you'd make a mazonis on, or fruits at the bed in the worst case scenario. Sometimes you you can't do the bread thing at Matzah Shabbos, so it's okay to have a little mazonas or to have peiros, but of course, preferably is to have a hot dish with bread. He quotes the Mishnah Brewer 301. The Kanfayona suggests to have 2 challahs and recite a motzi out of them. So there's even a shita that just like the other meals of Shabbos, we have 2 loaves of bread. The Mishnah that should also be part of the 4th meal, which is the Malav Malka. Fruit, if you find it impossible to eat at all, again, that could happen. So at least you should have tea and coffee is okay. So says the Siddur Beis Yaakov. So the Siddur Beis Yaakov says that at least a tea or coffee. But again, there is a concept of drinking a warm glass of water on Matzah Shabbos. Listen, there's an idea. Some people try to go to a live water source, a well or something, because it says that the Be'er of Miriam, the well of Miriam is running on Matzah Shabbos, and you could get from that. I think there's a story about someone who mocked. Did we tell the story once? Someone who mocked about it, and his wife was drinking, and she kind of he didn't believe in it. She spit on him or something like that, or I don't know, something happened. And wherever the water touched, he was healed, and wherever he had a skin, and wherever he didn't. So he was mocking it. He saw that it was true. Whatever it is, it's brought down in halacha. It's not folk tales. This is brought down in Shulchan Aruch. Alter Rebbe brings it down to try to drink water on Matzah Shabbos. What I like to do sometimes is again, there's no source for that, but is to let the sink run a bit, and kind of let the waters that are fresh water come through the pipes, and then have a drink of water on Matzah Shabbos. Yes, Rebecca.
I'm so sorry. I missed what you said. Why, where does it come from? The idea that drinking warm water Motzi Shabbos is like good for the health?
Let's see a second. I think I could have something. Here we go. Let's bring this up. My computer allows it. Let's bring it up and let's show the text. I think it's in 300. So we're in 300. This is 299. 1 second. Let's see. It's in the laws of Matzah Shabbos. I think it's Shin or Shin Aleph. Hold on. Okay, this is definitely not this. This is what we were talking about, getting ready for Matzah Shabbos. Okay. Sadeh Shulchanai. So this is the Shulchan Aruch Harav. So it says again here there goes into detail about setting your table nicely. Also, law number 2 is to have a lot of candles, like we learned to Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, to sing the songs. Here the Alter Rebbe says, Tov levashel basar idav rachmat Shabbos lechoy to this yizu. The Alter Rebbe even adds, not just that you should have something, but you should cook something, especially for this meal, seemingly as opposed to leftovers. So the Alter Rebbe actually ends up that because some people have a late shalashudas, which is especially in the summers like dinner, so then fruit is okay. Also, the laws of a man should fold their talis on Matzah Shabbos. Let's see. Just want to see. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's in Shanav. Let's see. Maybe it should be. Hold on, give me 1 second because it wasn't before. And I'll have to check where it is. I think I remember it being in Shin. And check again. I mean, it's just see it. The idea is that the be'er of Miriam's well is running a Matzah Shabbos. So let's just see a second. Where would it be? Maybe hold on a second. Maybe send of 299. Hold on. Basically, it says is that the waters of Miriam flow on Matzah Shabbos. It says it went into the Kinneret, so one should drink warm water on Matzah Shabbos. Oh, here we have it. So here we have it. So it's at the end of 299. Those who have the custom. Lidlois mayim b'chol matzah Shabbos mi be'eris imimayanis. So the technical law is to try to draw water from a well or a spring on Saturday night. Lefi, because she'amru chachamim, our rabbis have taught us. Shebe'eris shel Miriam, the well of Miriam, she b'yamash Tveria. It went into the Sea of Tiberias, which is the Kinneret, the Sea of Galilee. He mechazeres b'chol matzah Shabbos. The well passes through all the wells in the world on Saturday night. So all wells and be'eris are really wells and springs. So all wells and springs kind of gets a flow of water from the be'er of Miriam. Again, this is a halacha. This is not a agada. And if you happen to be able to get from that well, that water in your cup, and you'll get from that, you'll drink from it, all illnesses will be cured, no matter what. So I had a friend of mine, unfortunately, he passed away a few months ago, Zachar L'Tov Pinchas Daniel Ben Avram, that we used to try to find him water on Saturday night. He had cancer. To try to drink a Matzah Shabbos, maybe he would get from the well of Miriam. Again, it's not a folk thing. This is brought down the law. So what does he say? And therefore, you should draw water on Saturday night because maybe you're going to get from Miriam's water. So the custom came, maybe it's what we said before, about drinking a tea or a coffee, about drinking a warm cup of water. Some people have that custom. But from the Alter Rebbe, it seems like the idea is to try to get the well of Miriam. So, the reservoirs, I don't know if that's considered a well or a pit, because the waters are not always flowing, but that's the best we could do. And sometimes is to hit a reservoir and, you don't want to drink out of the sea. We once actually were driving through Matzah Shabbos, actually through Tveria, through the east side of the Kinneret, and one of our children was going through something medically, and we all were driving back from the Golan Heights, and we pulled the car up by the Sea of Galilee, and we took water out of the Kinneret, and this is like 20 years ago, and we gave her to drink out of the waters of the actual Kinneret, the Sea of Kinneret. Yes, Rebecca, you have a question?
Well, I was just wondering, since you just said that, did it end up like, do you feel like it helped or you don't know?
Baruch Hashem, she whatever it was taken care
Great. Amazing.
of. Okay, Amen. So let's see. Okay. Mihi shehivzu kvar. If someone already made Havdalah, hold on a second, looks like my page froze. Mishivdil Kvar, if someone already made Havdalah, Yoichel Havdil B'Shvil Banav Shegil Chinuch La'itzion Yidei Chavasar. You could make Havdalah for those who still need to hear. Mikoshke Mishvil Gadol, surely even for an adult. But Dafke Kshen Yoichel Havdalah Atzim, that's only if they can't make Havdalah for themselves. But if someone's lazy, they should preferably make Havdalah for themselves. Av Mishu Yidei Havdalah Atzim, if someone can make Havdalah for themselves, Yavz B'Atzim, better they make Havdalah if a person already heard Havdalah. But if a person makes Havdalah for others and you already heard Havdalah, they have to smell right away the spices because you already smelled it, you're making it for them. It shouldn't be a wasteful blessing. The idea is to take joy, and the joy is something that you haven't done yet. If you just did it before, then you shouldn't be making a blessing yet. So here he brings down the Shulchan Aruch that if a person already heard Havdalah and a woman didn't hear Havdalah, then just to make a Havdalah just for women, you shouldn't, because there is the opinion that they don't have to hear Havdalah. A woman doesn't have to hear Havdalah, and therefore it's a questionable blessing. He says footnote number 12 we should check out, which was what? I'll get back to footnote number 12 in a second. Footnote number 12 was let's see. Just as they are obligated in Kiddush, others maintain that Havdalah is a Zman Grad, in other words, mitzvah that is dependent on prescribed time period of which women are exempt. So there's difference of opinion if a woman is a chiyuv or not. So if a person already heard Havdalah, so therefore to make Havdalah for another person, for the woman it maybe is questionable. But first of all, it seems like the halachah is women are obligated. Second of all, the woman should make her own Havdalah. If you can't drink wine, you can drink tea. Is a mitzvah that is dependent on a person's time period for which a woman is exempt. Due to this controversy, it is preferable that, if possible, women hear Havdalah recited by man. The Ramah Magen Avram Eliyahu Rabbah, see also Rabbi Kiva Eger. When reciting Havdalah for themselves, a woman should, if they can hear it from another man. Women probably should not recite the blessing for fire over the Havdalah candle. Doesn't say why. I don't remember learning this footnote. So it says the Biur Halacha. Yes, Rebecca, you wanted to ask something before?
Well, I was gonna ask, like, why would a woman not need to hear Havdalah, but then you just answered that. But like, also I learned that a woman it's better if she does not make Havdalah herself. So
it says you shouldn't make yourself if you can hear from others, but if you can hear from others, then you make yourself. That's what it seems like the footnote says. I mean, it seems that it's open for discussion. But it seems like he says if you make yourself, you don't make a bracha on the eish, according to the Biur Halacha, on fire.
But do we hold that way? Because
I have to check why. I don't know. I have to see. It says I have to check why. I never heard that on yourself. Let me check into that. For whatever reason, you forgot, you unpurposely, it was out of your control. Whatever, it doesn't make a difference why, basically. You didn't do Havdalah Matzah Shabbos. Didn't happen. You have up until the end of Tuesday to make Havdalah. You don't make this special blessing of Hana for the Psamim and the Ner on after Matzah Shabbos. Rak B'richas Boire Pri Hagafen U'Brichas Hamavdal, you only make the Boire Pri Hagafen and the Havdalah itself. Lach Shakal Yom Shlishi, but once Tuesday passes, any Yochel Havdalah, it's ready to going into the next week. That's how we say L'chun Haran on Wednesday. Yishtaish Yom HaRishonim Shal Shavuot Nikram Yomei Shlachar Shabbos, because the first 3 days are considered the days after Shabbos. But once the fourth day comes, it's already the day before Shabbos. The last 3 days of the week, before Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, are already connected to the next week. And they're not 100% connected to the previous week. Now, the Rebbe always talks about both ideas because it says Shabbos mizvarchin kula yomim. Shabbos blesses the whole week. And then we have this law that says Shabbos only extends until the first 3 days. So the Rebbe has a whole talk about the difference between the way we look at Shabbos blessing, giving energy for the full week, and the idea of the full week leading up to Shabbos, and the idea of the division between the first 3 days and last 3 days. All right, let's see footnote number 43. Some poskim rule that where omitting Havdalah was purposeful, that you didn't do it on purpose, you decided, I'm just not making Havdalah tonight, whatever that means. Havdalah cannot be recited after Shabbos night. Not everyone agrees with that. So says L'chsam Sofer, and evidently the Alter Rebbe agrees with that as well. The Shulchan Aruch Rav says that if you've been mazed, not by mistake, or not that you forgot, or not that it was out of your control, but you just said, I'm not making Havdalah, I'll do it tomorrow, then you can't do it tomorrow. So again, everyone, chazak v'nitz chazek. This finishes the laws of Shabbos. Thank you so much, Barbara, for being the inspiration of this class and for sponsoring it. And it should be for you for a zachus, a merit, for all the things that you wanted in your blessing for your children and yourself, and a long life and a healthy life. And next week, we're going to stop here, but next week we're going to start the laws of Rosh Chodesh, because there's special laws containing with Rosh Chodesh. And after that, that's chapter 97, we might as well learn it. And then chapter 98 is going to be the laws of Yom Tov. So again, thank you, Rebecca, for nudging us in that direction. And may this all be a merit. It says learning the laws of Shabbos is very important. It brings bracha and it brings Yeshuas and everything that people need in Shidduchim. Tonight's the end of Matzei Tu B'Av. In Shidduchim and in other things that it brings in blessings in Parnasa and Arichas Yom and health. And especially, like it says, keeping Shabbos is going to bring usher in the days of Mashiach. May that be speeding in our time. Laila Tov, everyone.
Amen.
Rabbi, oh, sorry. And may it be a blessing for Rebecca also, because she also helped sponsor.
Yes,
only once or twice, but thank you. I wanted
It's
to say
good.
amen to the rabbi's bracha for Barbara. Everything should happen, as the Rav said.
Amen, amen. Laila Tov, everyone. Take care.
Good night.